Okay, now you are masters of multiplying rational expressions. We're going to divide rational expressions. When you divide rational expressions, look back at our winter break pre-knowledge packet. Dividing 2/3 by 1/6 is the same as taking 2/3 times the reciprocal of 1/6. So 2/3 times 6/1. The reciprocal just flips the numerator and the denominator. And then you multiply straight across, just like when we multiplied rational expressions. So 2 times 6 is 12, 3 times 1 is 3. Simplified, we'll get 4. So again, when you divide rationals, you multiply by the reciprocal. Example 3 is 7x over 2x minus 10 divided by x squared minus 6x over x squared minus 11x plus 30. So I see the divided by. I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. The first rational expression always stays the same. Always, always, always. Times the reciprocal. So x squared minus 11x plus 30 is your numerator, and x squared minus 6x is your denominator. Then we can multiply straight across. In order to do that, I'm going to factor first, just like we did in examples 1 and 2. So I have 7x, and I'm actually going to do the 2 steps at once, multiplying straight across and factoring. So x squared minus 11x plus 30. Two numbers that multiply to 30 and add up to negative 11 are negative 5 and negative 6. Factoring the denominator, I can factor out a 2. I'm left with x minus 5. And then I can factor out an x. I'm left with x minus 6. So I did the factoring and the multiplying straight across in one step. Now I'm looking at this full rational expression and looking for what I can simplify. X minus 5 over x minus 5 simplifies to 1. X divided by x simplifies to 1. X minus 6 divided by x minus 6 simplifies to 1. And I'm left with my final answer, just a constant, 7/2. Done. Example 4. (3x squared plus 10x minus 8 over 4x squared divided by x squared minus 2x minus 24. When I divide with rationals, that's the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. Well, originally, x squared minus 2x minus 24 is the same as that expression over 1. So when I multiply by the reciprocal, I leave the first expression, and then I multiply by 1 over x squared minus 2x minus 24. Now I'll factor and multiply straight across in the same step. Because I have an a value that's not 1, my two factors are not going to start with x and x. I have 3x and x. Now I have to think of two numbers that multiply to negative 8 and add up to 10 when one of those two numbers is multiplied by 3. And that would be positive 4, negative 2. Over 4x squared. And I multiplied by 1, which doesn't affect that numerator, so I left it the same. And then in the denominator, 4x squared can't be factored any further. but x squared minus 2x minus 24 can. So two numbers that multiply to negative 24 and add up to negative 2 would be x minus 6 and x plus 4. So after I've multiplied by the reciprocal, then I'm going to look for any factors that can cancel, which would just be x plus 4. X plus 4 divided by x plus 4 is 1. So my final answer, 3x minus 2 over 4x squared times x minus 6. And I have one more dividing example. Example 5. Sometimes you can see division written in a different way. 2x squared minus 11x minus 6 over x squared minus 2x minus 3. That whole expression, instead of writing it horizontally, you might see division written vertically. 2x squared plus x over x squared minus 3x. It's just one rational expression divided by another rational expression. So we can rewrite this as 2x squared minus 11x minus 6 over x squared minus 2x minus 3 divided by 2x squared plus x over x squared minus 3x. These mean the same thing. So when I'm dividing, I will multiply by the reciprocal. I'm also going to factor in the same step. So two numbers that multiply to negative 6 and add up to negative 11 when one of them is multiplied by 2. That would be minus 6 plus 1. Factoring the denominator. Two numbers that multiply to negative 3 and add up to negative 2. Minus 3 plus 1. And I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. So times, I'm also going to factor as I write the reciprocal. So x squared minus 3x is in the numerator. I can factor out an x. 2x squared plus x is in the denominator. And again, I can factor out an x. When I multiply rationals, I multiply straight across. So I have 2x plus 1, x minus 6, times x minus 3. Essentially writing all your factors multiplied by each other. X minus 3, x plus 1, times x, times 2x plus 1. And now I'm looking for any factors that simplify to 1. So x divided by x is 1. 2x plus 1 divided by 2x plus 1. X minus 3 divided by x minus 3. And that is it. It's okay if you don't have factors that cancel. Usually you will, but again, when you simplify, it's okay if you don't have any. X minus 6 over x plus 1 is your final answer. So now you know how to multiply rational expressions and divide rational expressions. You can complete your homework. Ask questions of your classmates. Send me any reminds if you have questions. Google things, whatever you need to do to know how to multiply and divide rational expressions.